Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to another installment in our Arduino Foundation series. So, originally we talked about a couple things, including reading from a potentiometer like this, and we talked about interrupts. We're not going to do any interrupts today. What we're going to talk about today is this guy here, the OLED display. This one we're using is a cheap one that you can get from AliExpress or Amazon or eBay or whatever. And they are the SSD1306 displays. These are very common, 128 pixels across, 64 pixels down. The connection is also very simple. You see we have 4 pins here. Let's zoom in. So our first pin is ground, which we simply put to ground. Next one is VCC, which goes to VCC out of the Arduino, so it's getting 5 volts. Then we have SCL, SDA, serial clock, serial data. So if we follow this yellow pin, serial clock, back here it goes over to analog pin 5, and analog pin 4 is our data. So you can see how they work together. Now, what I wanted to show you here is we're using this potentiometer kind of as an analog for a sensor. It can be anything you want that outputs a 0 to 124. So in this case, we can just roll the potentiometer and we can get our full values. And having a display on your Nano or Uno or whatever Arduino you're using is incredibly useful. Even if you don't need to monitor anything, it can just show you the status of the Arduino. You can have a little heartbeat thing in there that just says running or it blinks or something like that. But the point I'm trying to get at is this is just one of the most useful things that you can put on an Arduino. Now this one is in blue. You can get them in white. You can even get them in full color. They're really easy to use and they're cheap. These sell for, I don't know, $2 or $3. So they're easy to use. They do make larger ones, they do make smaller ones, but this is the most common one. This is the I2C version of the 128 by 64 SSD. You can tell it's the I2C version because it only has 4 pins. If you wanted to see a SPI version, SPI, well, that would be this guy here. And you can see it has many, many more pins. Here is another OLED. This one is like 6 years old, and man, it has been through the ringer. Let me turn on some more light here. Now, well, you can see that, but look at that. It's even got rust on the pins. So, yeah, they can get beat up. All right, let's go over to the computer, and we'll take a look at how to set this up. And I'll make sure that I put my code somewhere where you guys can grab it. Check out the description down below. And while I've got you here, I need a favor. You're going to notice up here in the corner of the video from time to time, you'll see things that says like support the channel or I need your help or something like that. I never know what to write in these things. Anyway, what this is my Amazon affiliate link. So if you're going to shop at Amazon, please use the link. It won't cost you anything extra. I will make a little money and get to keep making videos for you. So check it out. There'll be, like I said, up here, there'll be a little something right there. And also, you can find the link down below. I appreciate your support over all these years, guys. All right, let's go and take a look at this on the computer. All right, so here is the code. We're going to go over it line by line. It's not very hard. We're going to start out with some includes, which are libraries basically. So the first one is SPI, Serial Peripheral Interface. We're not using it in this case, and you could just comment it out. No problem. Next, we are using this one. This is wired.h, and this is our I2C driver that allows us to communicate. And then we have 2 of these libraries you see here from Adafruit. There is the graphics library, which in this case is not particularly needed, but it's a good idea to include them whenever you're setting up the OLED. That way it's there if you need it. And then we have the actual driver itself, which is called Adafruit SSD1306. Now we just have to tell the Nano that pin 4 is set aside for OLED reset. And then we're going to take our object here, Adafruit SSD1306, and we are going to call it display. But you could call it Dave or Tom or Lori if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. It's just a name. And we will be setting it up, telling it that its reset pin is number 4. Then we are going to create an integer variable called level for reading our potentiometer, set its initial value to 0. And that is our initial setup, calling in all the parts we need. Next, we're going to move on to this setup here, which is the actual setup. And this is telling the Nano how to handle all those parts. And remember, setup only runs one time. So I always put a serial begin in just so that we can use the serial monitor, this thing here, in case we need to monitor anything to make sure it's working. Then we're going to take our display, which you remember that we created right here from this object, Adafruit SSD1306, and we're going to start it out by saying display begin. Now here is a little caveat you need to look out for. If you're buying one of the cheap Chinese OLEDs, this hex address here, which is the address of the OLED, is probably going to be 0x3C. So that's 0x-ray 3 Charlie. The Adafruit library starts out looking like this at 0x3D or 0x-ray 3 Delta. But that's not going to work. You need to change it to Charlie. And then we're going to show what's in the buffer. In this case, it's just going to be the old Adafruit logo. We're going to take a breath, let everything catch up. Then we're going to clear the display. And we are going to tell the Nano to look out for an analog signal on pin 0, which the ADC, the analog to digital converter within those pins, will take and convert to a 0 to 1024 base 10 numbers. Okay. Next, we're on to our main loop, which is going to run over and over and over. First thing we're going to do is we are going to read that analog pin, and we're going to store the answer to that read in level. Now here is the part where we really set up for how we're going to talk to the OLED and how it's going to look. So I'm just starting out with the clear display. I always start out with it. And there's an extra one here. You see there's one here too. Yeah, doesn't matter. Then we're going to set our display size. Display, here's the command, set text size, and then what size you want. Not sure how high that goes up. Generally, I use it at 1, but in this case, I made it big so you guys can see. If you have a multicolor display, you can set text color and put in a color as well. And then we're going to tell it where to start using the display, where to start printing, and that is 10 pixels over from the upper left corner and 10 pixels down from the upper left corner. And you have 1024 or 128 by 64 pixels that you can choose from there. We're going to clear the display again, and here's where we're going to do this. Now, what's important to keep in mind is that these OLEDs do not take the data directly to the screen. You have to tell it to put it on the screen. So what it does, when I say display print line level, it's going to put this variable that it read right here into the buffer for the OLED. And it's not going to show us that buffer until we say display, display. I know it's strange, but hey, it works. Well, guys, I hope you understand that, and I hope you got something from it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, please. And please comment. It really helps out the algorithm, and it helps to get these videos pushed out to more people who can't see them, which is better for everybody, because the more people who see them, the more money the channel brings in, the more motivated I am to make more videos for you. So thank you guys for being here all this time with me. I really appreciate it. I especially appreciate the friends that I've made here over the years. You know, when I started this channel, I never thought that I would make friends with people. I thought I'd make videos, I sent them out, people might comment on them, I might comment on their comments, you know, back and forth like that. But I've truly made some really good friends here, and I appreciate all of you. That's it. I'm out. Peace.